What's up, everybody? Welcome to Q and Kobe, the show where we talk about things that are on the minds of me and Kobe. We got a lot to talk about here, right? We're going to talk about if the drafting a quarterback for any team is a viable thing in this year's draft. Also, in that conversation, we need to probably talk about, because we focus so much on the first round aspect of that conversation, but flyer guys are a real part of this, right? Like, you could get a guy in the third or fourth. We'll see how we feel about that when we get there. Cavs might be the best team in the East right now. Definitely up there competing with the Celtics. They look great after switching from Kenny Atkinson to, not from Kenny Atkinson, from JB Bickerstaff to Kenny Atkinson. And the Browns, they're going to have to be in the trade market. We got to talk about what Browns make sense to keep around, what Browns don't really make sense to keep around when we're looking at contracts, ages, windows, all of that and more. But what I want to start out the show with is the fact that the college football polls, they come out tomorrow, right? The first ranking.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big thing that's happening tomorrow. So, it's going to be interesting to see how things end up here in college football, right? Ohio State gets that big win over Penn State. Go, as an Ohio State fan, was this a win over Penn State that you feel good about?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
Why not? Why not? Because I want to hear the perspective from Ohio State fans here.
Let me tell you something.
You seem like you got something to say too.
Yeah, Curtis got thoughts. He has thoughts that he absolutely wants to share. But this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this now. The only reason that game was even close was because of Will Howard. Yeah. They should have dog walked Penn State. That Penn State is not a serious football team. If it's a James Franklin coach football team, it's not serious. It's not serious at all. I just want to say this. James Franklin makes Ryan Day look like an extremely serious football coach. And that is the most insulting thing I can say about another football coach.
I mean, to be fair to James Franklin, he is coaching at Penn State and Ryan Day is coaching at Ohio State.
Listen, man.
Like, getting Penn State to a point to where they could be top 5 anything is significantly more difficult than doing that with Ohio State.
Listen, I understand that. I can acknowledge that. I will also acknowledge that man cannot win a big game to save his life.
Now that's the big thing with James.
And we're talking about a fan of a team whose head coach is Ryan Day, and I am saying that to you. He cannot win a big game to save his life. He
The
can't.
problem with it is that like the Penn State has not been a serious enough threat to Ohio State over the years with James Franklin that it really qualifies as a big game for Ohio State, right? Like Ohio State always wins that game. When's the last time Ohio State lost that game versus Penn State? Like when it really mattered? Like was
I
it
think
before the pandemic?
2016.
It was 2016. It was 2016.
Yeah,
it was a whiteout game. 2016.
2016. I was a junior in college. Like,
Same.
the Steelers were winning playoff games with Antonio Brown at wide receiver. Like, so I feel like for James Franklin, it's a big game, and that's why he loses it. But that's why Ryan Day consistently wins that one because it's not a big game for Ryan Day. Now, the one I'm wondering is like, hey, if Ryan Day really can't win the big one, he gonna lose against Penn State. I mean, not Penn State, Michigan. And that's going to be something to think about.
I don't even think Michigan's the team they need to worry about right now, to be completely honest. I think they're going to win that game. I think they're going to win that game pretty. This isn't last year's Michigan team. You know what I'm saying? This not a serious
Is it
Michigan
last
team.
year's Ryan Day?
I
I don't think this has much to do about Michigan, in my opinion. Like, I'm not looking at Michigan like, oh my God, they're so good. They stink. They're not ranked. The thing is that Ryan Day knows that they stink. They not ranked. That's going to make him have more pressure because you absolutely can't lose this game versus Michigan this time. And he already lost the homie last time. Like, he ain't lose to Jim. He lost to him.
Yeah, man. I'm not. I would hope. I can't even say it with confidence. I would hope that he don't lose to this Michigan team. I would hope.
If he beats Indiana, who's top 10 ranked, but loses to Michigan, and they're 2-loss, but they still make the playoff, does he keep a job?
No.
Now that's what you want to happen, but like, do you think that he keeps his job? Like even being objective. Like, you think from the perspective of Ohio State, do you think they fire him finally?
Yes, you have to. If he loses to this Michigan team, you cannot bring him back. Can't do it.
What about you, Curtis? You came on here once I mentioned Ohio State, like you heard back that ass up in the club. I said Ohio State, you said boop, you popped up.
No, because
I know you got words.
No, because I just wanted to talk about the game for a little bit. And as for the Just for Men model, I'll give my thoughts on it later. But I came away from the game like a little bit more encouraged because last week against Nebraska, it wasn't like a great game for offensively because the O-line was just bad. And this game against Penn State, they looked a lot better on the offensive line than they did last week. I know it's not a lot to say that, but the run blocking, it was a lot better than what it was. I thought, Donovan Jackson being held one-on-one against Abdul Carter, not a smart strategy at all. But the one thing that I noticed is that the team didn't necessarily collapse because when they gave up that pick six, I'm like, yeah, this might get ugly real fast. But they responded with a couple of good drives. And, of course, the defense played really well. The thing that I wouldn't say worries me about it is that Will Howard can't play that bad again in a key game because he didn't really play his best, but he made plays down the stretch when it mattered. Because when we had Kyle McCord and he was playing awful, he would fold in bad moments. So,
Question about Will Howard, real quick. So, like, are we going to ignore that this is the second time in a top 5 ranked game where you're like, what the fuck is Will Howard doing?
I'm not willing to ignore it. Curtis might be. I'm not
ignoring it. I thought he played well.
Well, no, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying, like, what do you do with that? Like, he had the big foot snafu the last time he played against Oregon that cost you the game. And you can argue he was probably the closest thing to costing you the game this week versus Penn State. What do you do with Will Howard when that's the case? Like, do you not trust him in these big moments going forward?
It's just I'm like 50-50 on it. I don't fully trust him, but I expect him to manage the game and not screw it up. He has arguably the best receiving weapons in the country with Emeka and Jeremiah Smith, Cardinal Tate, Brandon Ennis, and stuff like that. However, if he's having moments in which he's trying to do too much, which led to that fumble, which literally the game could have been over if he didn't fumble in the end zone because Ohio State was putting belt to ass mostly in the entire game. So if he didn't do that, I would feel comfortable in him. But it's like 50-50. Like if you go against Oregon again, which you probably could if you play well down the stretch, do I trust him to come through when it matters the most? Because the difference between him and Kyle McCord from last year is that Howard can actually, show signs of, hey, I can will this team down to victory. And when it comes to McCord, I'm like, I don't really trust him that much. But it's not really saying much because going from McCord to Howard was an upgrade, whether people want to believe it or not.
So I have two issues with what Curtis just said. First of all, he said Ohio State put belt to ass. Brother, they scored 20 points and won that game by 7.
Brother, did you not watch the tape?
Oh yeah, I watched the game. That's not putting belt to ass. That's not putting belt to ass. That's not putting belt to ass. I have issue with that. We are rewriting history. That was not belt to ass. That was not belt to ass. Also, second point, and I will let you respond. I promise. Say, I will let you respond. I promise I will.
I'm gonna let you respond. I promise.
I'm not even yelling. My second point is this. Yes, he is better than Kyle McCord. He is significantly better than Kyle McCord. But if you're going from ass to mid,
I make this point all the time.
that is not the standard. That is not the standard that has been set at Ohio State. Just going from ass to mid. That's all I'm saying.
You can win an argument with how Will Howard is playing, but can you win a championship with how Will Howard is playing? I think it's a big question, right? Like you can win the argument. Yeah, you made the right move to move off of Kyle McCord. For anybody who was hanging on to that, sure. Kyle McCord has been decent in the ACC, right, with Syracuse, but has had those moments where he reminds you he's Kyle McCord. But the thing is, like, do you trust this dude in a playoff format where you got to win how many games if you don't win your conference in a row against top competition?
You can't tell me you trust him. You can't tell me you trust him.
I'm not saying I do. I don't trust him, but at the same time, I don't trust him. However, I don't expect him to fold under pressure like Kyle McCord did.
What?
He's showing you that he might.
I've never seen a quarterback look like he's setting you up for more disappointment than Will Howard. Because I'm like,
Kyle McCord almost lost us the Notre Dame game last year. I can't. People.
We not talking about Kyle though.
Okay, Curtis. Okay. You went from being a disappointment, like, okay, the Browns are a disappointment this year. They stink. That's Kyle McCord, right? Now you're going from that to Will Howard, who is the Atlanta Falcons of quarterbacks. It's like, oh yeah, you might start believing. And right when you do that, that's when Will Howard decide to slide with no time on the clock left, right? That's when Will Howard decide to fumble back out the back of the end zone, right? Like, this is a different brand. He is clearly better, but is his brand of better a brand that you trust to take you any further than Kyle McCord was going to take you?
That's my whole thing, man. This is my whole thing. Will Howard is the only reason that game was close. That game shouldn't have been close at all, dog.
Ohio State should be number one in the country right now. Like, if you really look at it, they should be the number one team in the country. They should probably be undefeated. Right now, it's Dylan Gabriel. Like, Dylan Gabriel is out here getting Heisman talk right now. Dylan Gabriel is getting a Heisman talk. Did he back up Justin Herbert?
No.
There's something crazy like that?
No, he started. I think he started. I'm not. I think he started
Was he
at
Auburn?
UC. No, he started. I think he started at UCF, and then he transferred to Oklahoma, then he transferred to Oregon. So this is his third school.
Oh my God! How long ago was he at UCF?
I can look it up right now.
Was he at UCF when they were good?
Did
was he the dude who tore his ACL that one year?
I think because hold on, I'm looking it up right now.
There's no shot that dude's still playing college football. There's no shot. How old is? Oh, he's 23.
He enrolled. He was at UCF for 2 years. Then he went to Oklahoma, and then he transferred to Oregon.
What year did Cincinnati make the college football playoff? Was that 2019?
It was 20. I think it was 2021.
Yeah, that's
Was
the
it?
guy. That's wild.
Because he had that injury. Because I think he had that injury in 2021 against Louisville, and he broke. I think he broke his shoulder,
Yeah,
and then he announced that he would transfer to UC. He was going to transfer, and then he went to Oklahoma, and he.
that's crazy. Yeah, he's been in college football for fucking ever. But the point stands is like, look, I mean, I just don't know how far this whole Will Howard thing is going to take you. Like, yeah, you got. We also like you. This is also Will Howard and Ryan Day combined,
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you,
and like
man.
Ryan Day could have get it done with CJ.
Like, and this is what I've had some people address me personally because I believe this. But that game against Indiana is a toss up to me, man. Like I'm not confident they're gonna win that game.
The only reason I have a hard time believing that Ohio State's going to lose that game is because like Ohio State losing to Indiana is crazy.
It's
Like no matter
crazy,
how
dog.
ranked Indiana is. Like I
It's
would never go
crazy.
into that game thinking that Indiana could be ranked 3 and Ohio State could be ranked 25, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State won it. It's just one of those things where it's like it's something about them helmets. Like Ohio State, they just look like Ohio State, and you're not going to think subconsciously if you Indiana, we supposed to beat them. Like that's just not how that works mentally.
Yeah,
But
bro.
they could, and they should put up a good fight.
They shouldn't lose to Indiana. But if you asking me who I believe in more between Curtis Rourke and Will Howard, it's a lie. You can't tell me you're not taking Curtis. You can't tell me you're not taking Curtis. You are 100% taking Curtis.
Yeah, I just have no idea what to do with Will Howard. Like, I don't know what to do with him. He is in that class of quarterback where I'm like, man, like usually what I thought he would be is like, okay, he's not a pro prospect, but he's gonna be like a solid college quarterback that you could just throw the ball to Jeremiah Smith with 1,000 times and just like live off that. Like, he don't even be doing that. like I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I don't know what the plan is because a lot of this shit goes through him. Like, it just is what it is there. So that's a team that I find interesting. Something happened for Cole this week because Colorado didn't play. So we're not going to spend too much time talking about Colorado because they did not play this week, Cole. But
we still gonna talk about
it.
Listen,
Did open up a little bit. I text Cole. I put him on alert. I was like, "Hey man, Houston wins this game. That opens it up for Colorado." And
I changed the channel immediately. No, Curtis, come back on screen. Curtis, come back on screen. Curtis, come back on screen.
He left the room though. Come on back, man.
Come on back, man.
I literally had to close my door.
Right, okay.
Right when we started talking about Colorado, but your door was wide open. We were talking about Will Howard.
Hey, I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, Curtis, my biggest hater. Y'all don't be listening to me. Yeah, be listening to me, dog.
I love like when did it stop becoming me and it started becoming Curtis? Like when did this change in the power rankings happen?
When I started talking about not even when I started talking about Colorado. When Colorado started winning, Curtis was like, you know what I'm saying? He don't be so enthused when he be on here anymore. When Colorado started winning, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. I get it though. I get it.
Not it at all.
So, what needs to happen for Colorado to make the conference? I think Kansas State needs to lose another game, right? Because they have the head-to-head. But them losing to Houston makes that possible. I also think Iowa State needs to lose.
They have, for them to make the Big 12 title game, Iowa State has to at least lose one game. Iowa State's remaining schedule is they take on Kansas, they're home against Cincinnati, then they take on Utah, and their last game will be against Kansas State. As for Colorado, their schedule looks like, hold on, just because I'm pulling up right now. For Colorado, they take on Texas Tech this week, then they'll take on Utah, They're at Kansas, and their last game will be against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I think Colorado's probably going to win out, which will put them at what 9-3,
9-2.
9-2.
That'll put them at 9-2. They'll put them at 9-2.
They put them at 9-2. I mean, like they're gonna get a January 1st bowl game at the very least if they went out. Especially like when you add the whole Dion thing to it, like they're gonna get a buff on top of that, right? Like they're not gonna get like a New Year's 6 bowl buff, but what's that one bowl they do with the Orange Bowl? Oh no, the Citrus Bowl.
That's the Citrus Bowl. I think the Citrus Bowl.
No, it's not the Citrus Bowl.
No,
it's like because it was the same bowl that Jadeveon Clowney smacked the shit out that dude from Michigan.
I think
it's the Outback Steakhouse Bowl.
Yeah, that bowl. Yeah, it was Steakhouse. Yeah, it was the Outback. Yeah, the Outback Bowl.
Look, and it might have a ridiculous name, but that's not a bad bowl to make. Like,
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Or the Cotton Bowl. No, the Cotton Bowl is now a New Year's 6 bowl, right? They made that official. Because it used to be the Cotton Bowl wasn't a big deal, a BCS bowl for a while. But yeah, Colorado, they got a shot. It's not a great chance that they win the Big 12 or even get to play in the championship game, but there is a chance. And I'm going to be rooting for that chance to happen because I want to see what Shedeur looks like when he plays against BYU. And then I want him to win that game so I can see what he looks like against some playoff competition. Like, I want to see the most popular stars in college football play against some of the biggest talent in college football. And I think that's what the playoff is all about. Like, if you're a fan of it, you should be wanting Colorado to make the playoffs just so you can see, Shedeur and Travis Hunter really play some big time college football because throughout their career, they haven't been able to do that. I think that's been the big knock on both of them.
Yeah, I think that's a fair knock. I think it's a fair criticism of both of them. I would like to see what Shedeur could do against BYU. At least just BYU.
By the
I'd
way,
like to see.
You talk about a pregame conversation I want nothing to do with. Okay. Colorado versus BYU?
Yeah, it's a little two Americas, man.
Hey, man, you thought Oregon versus Colorado was crazy? Like
That's gonna be a little different.
Where they play the Big 12 championship game? That better not be at the home team's location, right?
No, they play at Jerry's World. They play at.
Okay, all right. So that's in Dion land right there, right? Because they live out there in Dallas. So
yeah. They gonna get a couple calls. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get a couple calls. Go that way.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see. Wait, now Colorado better not fuck this up. Now this is where they get now because they're 21st in the country. They're ranked now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're ranked.
Oh wow, yeah. They can't fuck this up. They cannot fuck this up now. Now they're at the points where you do get roasted if you do lose to Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
You have heard that right. You can't hit me with if I'm roasting them when they lose to Oregon State. You can't hit me with hey, before the season started though, did we think that they would be here? Nah. This shit's out the window now. Okay. You have earned a new level of respect, Colorado, and now you got to win this shit out. Like now people want this to happen.
Listen, I just want to let you know right now. I absolutely have that loaded up if they
try. I want to hear what it was more eligible.
I got it loaded up. Ready.
No, absolutely not. You're not about to sit here and talk about the win of the Big 12 and fall back to, hey man, it won 6 games. Like, no, that's not happening. That's not happening.
I'm like,
that is out the range of conversation that's appropriate for Colorado at this point. That's like when you get mad at Ryan Day. That's like when you get mad at Ryan Day and then people tell you, well, his record's good against Iowa. Like, you know damn well that the expectations are different now. Like, don't come in here with that disingenuous bullshit. Like,
so you go turn your nose up at an 8-3 season. You go turn your nose up.
Wow, yeah. I am. If Colorado does all this to go 8-3, yeah, I'm gonna turn my nose up at it. Talking about incremental improvement. Ain't none of them coming back next year. This is the climax of this whole thing in Colorado. Like, yeah.
How you know Dion not coming back next year? How you know?
I don't know if Dion's coming back. I just don't think he's the most important person in this conversation. Like, Sure, he can come back. Can he bring Travis with him?
Listen,
Like,
he gonna get on that recruiting trail. He's absolutely not gonna do that. He's not gonna do that.
no, he's been recruiting. Like the recruiting classes for Colorado haven't been bad the last few years. It's just you're not gonna get a Travis Hunter. Like, even if you get a bunch of 5 stars, they're not all Travis Hunters. Like a lot of 5 stars you never hear about until they get drafted, and somebody like Corey brings it up. Like, hey, they were a 5-star. Like Cade Klubnik was a 5-star, right?
Yeah, he was.
I'm gonna bring up Cade Klubnik in a little bit. In a little bit.
Will Howard, was he a 5-star?
Like, let me check. I don't think he was.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
think Will might have been a 4-star.
I think he might have been. Let me see.
Will Howard graduated in the class of 2020. My goodness.
He might have
been a 4-star. Yeah.
No, as a prospect, he was a 3-star, but as a transfer, he was considered a 4-star.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he got that extra star.
Yeah.
Where's he from? Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yeah, they were talking about it the entire game.
Yeah.
Talking about it. Him and Drew Aller. They were talking about it the whole game.
Oh, how one's from Ohio, the other one's from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, I just don't think Penn State's a rival to Ohio State like that. Like, I've never heard anybody who I know that rocks with Ohio State be like, yeah, man, fuck Penn State. Like, they're usually like, no, I enjoy the white. Like, my dad wants me to go to a Penn State game so I can experience a whiteout. That's not some shit you do when you don't like a school. Like,
yeah, I've never ever considered Penn State a rival to Ohio. I've never considered that.
I bet they be considering like themselves a rival though.
They can do that. They have every right to do that if that's what they want to do.
Yeah. With Penn State, I call them the Intercontinental Champion because they like who you beat to get to the main boss. Like, they a mini boss type college football team. Like, yeah, they gonna be ranked just so you could get to like the champ. Like, Ohio State lose a game, you know who they always need to play? Penn State. That'll get them back in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's Penn State's role. Be ranked high enough so when Ohio State beats you, it matters.
Man.
All right, so the Browns have some players on the trade block here. When you look at the Browns roster, when you look at the ages of the guys on the Browns roster, there's some guys who obviously inherently make sense to move if somebody wants them and is willing to offer a good price, right? So Darius Smith, that makes a ton of sense. I don't think there's a robust market for defensive tackle, but if somebody wants like Dalvin Tomlinson, it makes sense. I can see the Browns keeping him because they don't really have an obvious replacement for Dalvin Tomlinson. Remember, he plays more of a 1-tech than a 3-tech. So I can see the Browns hanging on to him and just waiting till the offseason to move him because he is on the 2-year deal. So that's one that makes sense. Greg Newsome makes sense because you have the surplus at corner and you want to see what Cam Mitchell has to make a decision on him. Then I heard the rumor that David Njoku was on the trade market. And at first it didn't make sense, but then it started to. Because David is what, 28, 29 years old? Was he
like
same draft as Denzel?
He was.
He might be 27 like Denzel is, because Denzel like 20.
He's Miles' draft.
Yeah, he's Miles' draft, so I think he's 28.
Yeah, he's probably 28.
Yeah, which, by the way, shout out to the it is rare that we're talking about dudes being this old that we drafted and then getting moved off of. But David, at first it didn't make sense to me. But then I think about his production this year. And I'm like, you know what? Might make a little bit of sense, right? Like, it might make a little bit of sense if the right offer is on the table. I don't think you just trade David Njoku for like a 5th-round pick or something like that. But if somebody offers you like a second next year for David Njoku, it was going to take a little while to convince me not to do it.
I would say this: if it's the second in this draft, which is a
in
really
this draft,
good tight,
I don't know if I take it.
No, I'm not gonna lie, it's a good tight end draft if they want to dip into that.
Yeah, I hate the ideal of trading a tight end to draft a tight end. That just always feels like a step backwards to me.
I'm just saying they may be thinking about it like that. Like, hey, it's a really good tight end class. It would be nice to have a second. Maybe get Tyler Warren. It would be nice if that's what we did. Could double back and get another tight end later. Like, I'm just like, I'm just speculating on how they may be perceiving it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want the second to be next year, but that's for other reasons. Like, so I am not as like gung ho about it, but it really does depend on the offer with David. Anybody else on the roster you think would be moved off of that there is a market for?
So you said Greg already. We know Zadarius is going to get traded. We just waiting for the report at this point.
I think they're just negotiating out the dead cap hit for that last year, his void year.
Yeah, like he's gone. So Zadarius, I really do think they're about to trade Greg. Like I feel strongly about it that they're gonna trade Greg here. I think Dalvin's safe. I know we were just talking about it, but generally speaking, I think David is safe. Does Jed have a market? I don't think he has a market, dog.
Like, they just benched him.
Yeah,
they just benched him.
I don't think Jed has a market.
I would say if DeJuan works out at left tackle, is it worth signing Jed to a cheap deal to play right? To see if he could work out there where he naturally played at Alabama?
I mean, I suggested yesterday, like just moving back to right tackle.
Because you're not going to keep Jack Conklin after this year.
Oh no, he's getting cut, 100%.
Yeah.
Post June 1st designation, he's done. He's out of there. I really wish I knew what they wanted to do in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Because that would make it easier for me to decide, like, what do you do with Jed?
We are so far away from them even knowing what they want to do in the draft, right? Yeah. Like, that's the problem with draft conversations this early, is because, like, the board ain't even close to set. They haven't finished all their work or seen everybody that they need to see. So, yeah, I think it's worth hanging on to. It's like what you're going to get from Jed is what, maybe like a here, take it deal. He also has that 5th year option that got restructured, right? So it would be extra money for somebody to take on. And Jed's not a good enough tackle to be like, oh, we can win right now. We trade for fucking Jed Wills, right? So I think it's just worth it to be like, all right, we'll just give you like a 1-year deal on a prove it, let you play right tackle, or maybe a 2-year, cheap little like $8 million per year with no guarantee money that 2nd year to play right tackle. See what you got there. Like, I think that probably would be more worth it than trading him. Because, like, you don't have enough young offensive linemen that even if this was an amazing offensive line class, you could straight up just replace all these people. The only place this offensive line class is strong is guard, and you might need to draft one of these tackles to play guard, because Joel's time is coming.
I've been saying this, man. If they take an offensive lineman high in the draft, that offensive lineman is playing guard. Probably going to be a guard. It's probably going to be a guard.
Yeah, and like, I don't know if Zach Zenter's at the point to where you'd be comfortable trading Wyatt Teller yet. He was at times when he was out there, but also at other times he struggled very much. Yeah, like, you have to fix this offensive line this offseason. And I'm not sure, like, Jed playing left tackle is not the solution, obviously. But him at right tackle might be all right for like a couple of years while you wait for some draft classes to fill it up. Like, maybe he's slightly better there. If he's slightly better at right tackle, you could live with that.
I mean, maybe. No possibilities are off the table here at this point. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's off the table at this point.
But really, I'm like, you like Ethan Posick, I'm starting to wonder about him. Like, do you want to draft a center in this year's class? I don't know if there's a ton of centers in this year's class. And then you need to get cheaper and younger at guard. And look, we didn't talk much about the Browns game versus the Chargers. I think the one thing people are kind of like overreacting to is like, hey, we collectively underestimated how good that secondary for the Chargers was. Like, we collectively underestimated it.
They were good.
Like,
I saw when I was watching the All-22, like, they were sticky in coverage. And when I saw a bunch of people picking the Browns to win this week, I'm like, hey, man, are y'all sure about that? And then when I watched tape, I'm like, it's khaki pants Harbaugh. I mean, come on now. I mean, their defense was really good. So the fact that they lost really didn't surprise me at all, considering how I watched all 22. But yeah, that defense is sound. They play assignment football, and Cleveland's offense couldn't do much.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people making a lot of big determinations about the quarterback position for Cleveland, and like it had nothing to do with the actual dude playing quarterback, which was like it was like all about all these other takes people want to have about quarterback. But I'm like, hey man, why are we acting like the Chargers defense stinks? They've given up 91 points all year.
Yeah, man,
they haven't given up more than 20 points all season. We just got over 20 last week. Like, just got over 20. By the way, second straight week. It is bad as Jameis Winston played. It is good as the Chargers defense played. I don't hear Mary Kay putting this in her article enough. Hey, man, Jameis still found a way to get over 200.
Got over 250, I believe.
Yeah. No, 235.
Was it 235?
It was 235.
Man, I thought it was more than that. I thought it was like 254.
Here's the thing that drives me crazy about the whole argument. It doesn't matter if Deshaun Watson is technically slightly better than Jameis Winston. The fact that this is fucking arguable is the failure itself.
I would even say this.
Even the people who root for Deshaun Watson still have not understood how low they've lowered the bar for the guy that they're championing. Because it's like every time I hear one of these arguments, I'm like, okay, so you're happy that he's better than Jameis in your mind. It's not even objectively true. It's just there, and it's like, wow, this is what we're excited. This dude was supposed to be in arguments about is he better than Joe Burrow. We think about that, Cole. When we traded for him, we traded to have the best quarterback in the division. Now we maybe he the best quarterback on the team.
He is by far the worst quarterback in the division.
And I don't want to continue to, because he's not playing, right? So he can't defend himself, right? So it is what it is. But the whole point that people were trying to make out there, especially Mary Kay of all people, they're like, oh, this proves that the offense didn't change much with quarterback play, that there were other problems. Hey, man, the Chargers are really good. I don't know how you walk away from this game and think to yourself, man, the Chargers might have one of the best defenses. Also, boy, the Browns stink because they couldn't throw against them. I'm like, every team that's played them hasn't thrown well against them.
I feel like people not watching these games, man. I feel like people not actually
people are watching these games, but they're watching it to see what they want to see.
Dog. Okay, so let's just, I want to address this part of it. Even if you're saying, see, Jameis isn't the greatest ever. Okay, cool. Deshaun didn't have a game against worse defenses than what they saw against the Ravens. He never had a game that good. Never had a game that good.
Yeah, and it's like the thing that made us upset about Deshaun was that the defenses weren't good that he was struggling against, right? If this were a case, and I have a long track record, by the way, of being very fair, more fair than most people about this when it comes to Deshaun Watson. When it was just, hey, this defense is playing really good football, you got to give them their props, I would just be like, hey, man, the defense get paid too, right? I wouldn't turn that into, oh, he stinks. I'd be like, oh, no, the defense plays good too. That wasn't happening most of the time for Watson out there. Now, that did happen with Jameis, and Jameis threw 3 interceptions, and Jameis played poorly in this game. Make no mistake about it. But also, we're not going to prove this point every week. Last week, he threw for 300, and it's like, oh, yeah, see, it opened up the offense. And the reason that point was valid was because we had watched the offense not get over 20 points and 200 yards for 7 straight weeks. One dude comes in there, one change happens at the quarterback position, at the play caller, And all of a sudden they get over 30 and they get over 300 yards passing. Now this week they got over 200 yards passing, but they didn't get over 30. But they went against a team that literally has not given up 21 points all season. They have not given up more than 2 touchdowns all season. This is 91. They haven't given up their 100th point yet. Well, I think they did versus the Browns. The Browns got the 10, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they were at 91 coming into the game. The Browns got them to 101. Like, they are that good, right? In the same way, we were like, hey, you can't draw big conclusions when you played the Browns defense last year at home because you had a bad game versus them. It's probably the same way we probably should look at this like, okay, well, Jameis Winston's not good enough to beat the best defense in the NFL. Nobody's fucking surprised. I just think we were surprised that the Chargers were that good because a lot of us got so caught up in this conversation, this constant fucking dumbass war at quarterback that we end up in this city that we weren't even thinking about, hey, man, Derwin James came back. like, oh, what are their secondary numbers? Oh, they're really good. Okay, yeah. Maybe we should have considered that. Like, because what's gonna happen in 2 weeks, Cole, when they play the Saints?
They probably gonna beat the Saints.
And if they beat the Saints and they put up a good offensive number, what do we relitigate this all over again? Like, what is the point of relitigating this? Like, this is the whole thing that I don't even get. It doesn't matter to make a point that Watson does not play good anymore. To me, it's done because it's like he's coming off an Achilles injury at 30 after coming off a thrown shoulder injury. Even the Browns, who have millions upon millions, a blockbuster amount of money committed to Deshaun Watson, cannot continue to think that they're just going to roll with Deshaun Watson next year and not make any plans for the future whatsoever. Like, we're moving on from the era, whether you want to or not. Like, that's just what's going to happen. It's the consequence of the amount of injuries that he's had over the last 2 years. So what is even the point of arguing it at this point? Like, I don't get it. Jameis's success or failure does not really determine anything because what's determining this is the fact that he's been injured a lot. Like, we came into the season, and even the people who were on Watson's side would disagree with me when I said it. If Watson gets another injury that takes him out for the season this year, before the season started, we were all like, hey, that's it. You can't trust him anymore. Like, at that point, he's injury prone, and you got to move on. You tack that on to the fact that he played as bad as he did at the start of this season. Yeah, man. Like, whether you want to or not, it's time to move on. These arguments are pointless. Getting these dunks are pointless. We're going to do this shit like Mary Kay hung on to Baker Mayfield was going to play for the Browns in 2024 up until they made the trade for Deshaun Watson. Like, do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Actually, she would not let it go, bro.
Yeah. So, like, there are people reacting to it like, oh, my God, Mary Kay's not let it go. We're going to start him next year. I'm like, she literally did. This is like, I get deja vu from 2021. I'm like, no, this is just Baker all over again. Except for Baker was personality conflicts. This ain't even that. This is just, hey, he's 30. He has a torn ACL and a torn Achilles and a broken thrown shoulder, and he wasn't playing good. And it's raps. Like, it's raps. It's done. He's not. And if he does come back and the Browns decide to put all their eggs in the Deshaun Watson basket after this, everybody's fired. Because that's not going to end well.
Yeah, it's over, bro.
Yeah,
it's over. I'm sick of talking about it. I'm sick of trying to have discourse about it. It's over, man. It's over. If they bring him back, good luck selling season tickets. If the goal is to bring him back next year, good luck getting people in that stadium. Seriously,
go bring him back. He ain't been. Also, like, let's just look at some of the other things. When last time you saw Deshaun Watson on the on front and center on the social medias and on the promotional materials?
Haven't
really haven't either. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not watching the promotional materials enough, but it definitely do feel like they be promoting to everybody else. And look, maybe Hard Knocks comes out, we find out that the front office is more into this Watson thing than we assume. But even if that's the case, it's just going to be one more year or half a season, because if you decide to put your eggs into Watson at this point, that's a horrible bet and it's probably going to end in crash and burn, and it's going to get everybody fired. So either everybody gets fired for hanging on to Watson, or we just move on from it. I think the more logical answer will hopefully prevail here. But yeah, it's a silly argument that we keep trying to make every fucking week, like what based on how many yards Jameis passes for. And the thing that's hilarious to me is like, yeah, Jameis was bad. Doesn't have the lowest QBR this season though of any starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. I believe he's not even in the top 3.
What are we talking about, bro?
Like the question isn't even like, honestly, this takes us away from the question. It's a great obfuscation from it, right? Because it's like the question is Deshaun Watson good? It's not if this person is as good as Deshaun Watson. Is Deshaun Watson productive towards winning? The answer was clearly no.
It's no.
Now we're trying to find out what that answer is for Jameis. The answer for Jameis was always this, and we said this multiple times on the show. Sometimes Jameis is helpful. What is my big word? What is my big phrase about Jameis? He gives all 22 people a chance to win the game. People were coming at me like, you said he was great. I'm like, how am I saying a quarterback is great when I'm saying all 22 people on the field have a chance to make a play when Jameis is out there? Now, if you don't say that shit about Tom, what are you talking about?
Hey man, he tried so hard to give our receivers a chance, and it just was not happening yesterday.
Hey man, when he says unwavering faith, he mean that shit, because he just threw an anticipation ball to Cedric Tillman, who got jammed at the top of that round.
Bro, he threw that ball like Cedric go get there. Cedric absolutely did not get there.
Cedric never got to the corner. Never got past the corner.
Oh,
I thought Cedric was running a 9. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like,
also, they showed the replay and they showed it from Jameis's view. I was like, oh man,
I know he was heartbroken.
I see what he was trying to do. I see what you was trying to do. No, brother.
And I want to make this point about Jameis Winston that I think people misunderstand. Yeah, the decision making for Jameis could be crazy. He's going to do one of those crossbody throws every game. Like, that's going to happen. But that's not where the bulk of the interceptions come from. The bulk of the interceptions comes from this. Jameis is not consistently accurate enough to throw it to the windows that he sees open. Like, that's the biggest flaw with Jameis Winston. He can see elite quarterback windows. He is not consistently an elite thrower of the football to make those windows. So those windows turn into interceptions. Like, if he had the arm talent and the arm and the accuracy of Joe Burrow, with that mind, he would be great. But that's the thing. He ain't consistent like that, right? And that's where the bulk of his turnovers happen. That's where the bulk of the turnovers happened this week. The bulk of the turnovers that almost happened last week happened. Like, that just is what it is, right? Jameis is going to give all 22 players a chance to win this game. This was not a surprising outcome for Jameis. Literally on this show, I was like, Jameis going to give you a 1 touchdown, 3 interception game. Like, verbatim. You can go back and watch the show. I said this shit.
It's so funny. It's so funny because when I sent this tweet out, he didn't throw the garbage time touchdown yet. Salute to Cedric Tillman, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Cedric Tillman.
Oh, yeah. Cedric Tillman was the low bright spot offensively for this team.
But, like, I was like, hey, man, that is the Jameis Winston experience. That perfectly encapsulates the Jameis Winston experience. One week, you get 3 touchdowns, no picks. Next week, you get no touchdown, 3 picks.
Hey, you know who else was living the Jameis Winston experience? The Indianapolis Colts. Yep. Hey, Joe Flacco, he gonna get in there and change it. 14 points. Oh my God. Right? Hey, and look, Joe Flacco gonna throw for 300 again this season. Like, it's gonna happen, right? It's just he gonna have one of them games. We act like every time quarterbacks with a known track record do stuff that they're known to do, we be acting surprised. I don't get it. It's Josh Dobbs all over again. Like, we have known this for years about Josh Dobbs, that once he learns that playbook, he's nothing.
Still the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, but every time he gets somewhere, he's new, and then start balling out. Be like, "Is Josh Dobbs a franchise quarterback?"
Wait till you learn that playbook.
I'm like, bro, give yourself like a month. This is why I was like the best Jameis was ever going to be was like maybe a bridge quarterback, right? Like somebody you could go to the playoffs with, or like a 10-win team if you got a lot of shit around him. But he was not going to be like a franchise guy. Like even him being like a Geno Smith would have been tough. He would have had to kill a lot of habits. And I vividly said on this show, don't expect them habits to be killed, right? Because when he had those dropped interceptions, Cole, what did I say? I was like, that's a reformed Jameis, by the way.
You did. You did.
Like, this is a reformed Jameis Winston that is making these decisions out here. It is what it is with Jameis, but we're not paying Jameis the big money to play quarterback, right? So it's hard for me to be super focused on him and blame him for all the problems on the offense when the problems on the offense this week were simple. The Chargers are really good at defense. And you know what was the good thing for the offense last week? The Ravens aren't.
The Saints also not great.
Yeah.
Not great.
This is the thing about the offense that's an upgrade is that, hey, at least they're going to be reflective of who they play. If they play a bad offense, they'll put up points. If they play a good defense, they won't put up points. But you know what the problem was for the first 7 weeks of the season? We ain't put up points no matter who we played. And that was the problem.
And they played a bunch of bad defense.
They played early season Commanders, right? When they was still struggling. Like, you look at the Commanders score total, it looked like, what the hell happened in Cleveland? Back up. Like,
I'm telling you. The Raiders.
Yeah, man.
The Raiders.
Well, to be fair to Watson, I thought Watson played fine in the Raiders game.
Listen, man, you can't tell me Jameis would have put up more points than that.
Watson did get like he had opportunities to score. I think that was more befuddled by like the center, right? But that's beyond. It's still one game, right? Like I could give him credit for that one game. It doesn't invalidate the whole sample. Like he did not play well. That's the main point of it. But it is what it is there with the whole Jameis Deshaun thing. I find the whole argument to be kind of funny. Let's move on to the Cavs. Let's talk about the Cavs. Let's talk about Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's talk about the best team in the East. Let's talk about it. I mean, like,
let's relax. They're not the best team in the East, but
I mean, like they beat Boston, they beat New York. You know,
they beat Boston.
Is Boston undefeated?
No,
who got the best record in the East?
They got the best record in the East right now.
Sure. They lost, but we have it. Interesting, interesting
cool.
math. But they're better.
Who would you pick in the series? The Celtics or the Cavs?
Right now, it's a toss-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look.
The badgered ass Cavaliers almost got to 6 games against the Celtics.
This is what I'm gonna say.
With JB Bickerstaff apparently
holding this team back.
Holding the team back. Okay.
Two things. Okay.
Who to say they don't give it a challenge?
2 things I want to say. The Cavs have the exact same roster because Jalen Tyson isn't playing. So they have the exact same roster they had last year. Plus Ty Jerome was on the roster, but he got hurt, so he couldn't play. But man, they look like a completely different team.
They're not even the same exact team. They're out Max Strus.
Great point. Great point.
And they've been shooting. Like, I feel like he'd be helpful.
They scored 130 points 3 times last year.
Mm-hmm.
Total 3 times. I think they've scored 130. Let me actually look at their box scores. I think they've already done it 3 times.
What they got? 114, 120, 134, 110, 135, 113, 136. So 3 times.
They've already done it 3 times this year in 7 games. This is a different team, dog. This is a completely different basketball team.
This is a team that I'm like, you know what they really need to like prioritize for this first half of the season? It's gonna sound silly, but I'm like, nah, they need to do this. They need to win that in-season tournament. Like they need to put that one together, right? They need to put the confidence together because like the whole thing with them is like, oh yeah, they play well when nobody's watching. They're not a playoff team, this and that. They need to play in that kind of a more physical environment and be able to hold up. Now, all the in-season games aren't physical, but like once you get to the tournament part, it did get pretty competitive. So I think for them, I'm like, winning an in-season tournament wouldn't be nothing because you would have to beat Boston right there in your group.
They would have to beat Boston. I'm gonna be real. The in-season tournament don't mean a lot to me. The Lakers won it last year. Doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, when you're
doesn't really
LeBron James and you won 4 titles, it doesn't mean anything, obviously. But this is not a Cavs team that is won to the level that the Lakers are accustomed to, that LeBron is accustomed to, or that anybody on that team is expecting to, right? This is not a championship or bust team like the Lakers have been while getting the 7 seed for like the last 4 years since they won that championship. And that's if they good, they get the 7 seed.
That's okay. Still got the 7 seed, still make the conference finals. That's fine.
One time.
That's okay.
One time. That happened one time.
How many times has the Donovan Mitchell led Cavs made the conference finals? Have they made?
Oh yeah, you had to say Donovan Mitchell led, didn't you? Right?
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell led. They made the conference finals yet? They made the conference finals.
No make edition.
Okay. I actually think they might. I actually think genuinely think they might.
It's just a matter of time, you know. So they do that.
But until they do.
Now, let me ask you this. Did the Donovan Mitchell-led Cavaliers team have one of the greatest basketball players to ever play basketball on it?
I mean, they got Evan Mobley.
Do the Donovan Mitchell-led Cavaliers team have a player who went to 8 straight NBA finals on it?
No, they don't.
No, they don't. Nah. Don't compare what we out here doing with Donovan Mitchell to what you're not accomplishing with LeBron. That's how sad y'all been with Bron. Y'all here bragging about making a conference championship with LeBron James.
We also won a title.
LeBron James.
We also won a title.
I'm gonna let you talk.
I'm just saying. We already won a title. We already got ours. We're good. We already got ours.
Then you got that one when nobody was allowed to come. That don't count.
Yeah, it counts.
You saw LA the Dodgers just had to get that one back.
Listen, it still counts to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care if it don't count to you. How about this?
How many conference championships games did LeBron get to as a Cavalier? I don't even know the number because it's not even anything we thought to count.
Hey, listen.
Hey,
we still got
worst
the same.
He's ever had. I'm just gonna point that one out there.
We got the same amount of titles. Ain't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. Not the same amount of conference championship games, though.
We got
Not the same amount of NBA Finals appearances, though. You brought him up. I'm just gonna point it out. Like
I'm just saying, all of that same amount of titles.
All of that. He brought up a conference championship appearance when
I'm
you have LeBron James on the roster, sir. Do you have no shame?
Listen, you the one who got us here trying to take shots at me.
I didn't say that. I just said, they're usually the 7 seed. Is that not the trut?
I'm saying they still.
I was being nice saying that the Lakers be the 7 seed. They've been like the 4 seed in a minute.
Hey, okay. What I'm saying is the Cavs did all of this for you. Been top four seeds. Still couldn't make a conference finals. Let's get there first.
You have LeBron. Okay.
Sounds like a skill issue.
You have LeBron.
That's not my fault.
And you've been to how many times has LeBron been to the conference final? 2 times?
Yes. Won a title once. Won a title once.
2 times.
And won a title. Make sure you say that. Make sure you say
when
that.
We talk about lockout championships, we say lockout shortened season in the pandemic, in the bubble. He did make. But were they on the path to go to the conference championship that year before the world shut down?
Yeah, because they were the number 1 seed. They were number 1 seed in the West.
Oh, okay. No, they weren't. But
yes, they were. Hold on. Let me go back.
He got half a ring in LA. I'll give him half a ring.
Get over it. They won.
got half a ring. He got the addendum ring.
They were literally funny enough, the Clippers were the number 2 seed.
This is why I can't take it serious. Okay.
That was why. To be fair to the Clippers, that was the year that Kawhi and Paul George were actually both healthy.
Mm-hmm. And then they got to the bubble. Were they both healthy in the bubble? And then they just decided they didn't want to be there no more.
No, they went up 3-1 on the Nuggets, and then we know.
And then they decided they wanted to go home. They realized that if they won, they'd have to stay. That is what happened.
Sure, Q. Sure. They won all them games and decided, you know what? All right.
No, I ain't trying to be here one more week. Like, wasn't Lou Williams on that team? No, that was he was on the 76ers, right?
Hey, you know you're supposed to be talking about the Cavs, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Yes, Lou Williams was on that team.
Yeah. What Lou Williams, when they got caught going to Magic City, that team was not focused, man. Like,
it was. He was a
they had multiple people get suspended for that Celtics, that Clippers team, if I remember correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't trying to be there. They was like, nah, man. Why? So we could lose to Bron in the conference finals? Stay here 2 more weeks? I'm getting out of here, dog. Y'all can have it. Okay. And what's up with the Clippers losing the teams they shouldn't lose to, and then like birthing the next like big team out the West? They did this shit with the Warriors, and they did this shit with the fucking Nuggets. Like,
completely unserious, very unserious franchise.
NBA Intercontinental Champions. Like,
I wouldn't even give them that.
Like, you got to beat them to be next. Okay. Like,
I wouldn't even give them that. Very unserious franchise. Extremely.
But yeah, the Cavs clearly looking like the best team in the East. I don't care what the haters are saying out there. I'm not going to say who's been hating. Not going to say who's been hating.
I've been hating.
I ain't saying you would say, wow, why when I bring up haters, do you automatically start to
associate? We do a pod together. We do a pod together, Q. Who else would you be talking about?
We do a pod together. Why would I associate you as a hater? Obviously, we're friends.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I'm very defensive about this, though. It's making me wonder. You be hating?
I'll be hating.
You
be hating.
See, look, this is projection.
You be hating.
What I've been hating on. What I hate on.
Let me mention Karl Anthony Towns. Let's see what happens.
I think he's a nice young man.
Okay.
I wish him nothing but the best.
No, you don't.
In his personal endeavors, yes. Ain't he dating Jordan Sparks?
Jordan Woods,
my bad. Yeah. I don't know much about them, but my girl seems to think that that's a good couple. So, I'm happy for him. Happy for you, Carl. See, look, you thought I'm not a hater. See, don't listen to the fake news.
Everybody knows. Hey, don't look at chat. Don't look at chat because I know they call you a liar.
Nah, man, I wish the best for Cat. Now, speaking of guys who've been shooting out of their mind, because Karl Anthony Towns is also known as one of the best 3-point shooters from the 5 position that we've ever seen in the NBA, the great Karl Anthony Towns. You know who else has been incarnated by Karl Anthony Towns on the Cleveland Cavaliers? Caris LeVert. Kobe, are you ready to apologize?
Am I ready to apologize to Caris?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to give it to like 10 more games.
Wow. I think Caris LeVert has been playing excellent basketball. It's a shame that some people ain't been willing to give him credit on that.
I just said he is.
By the way, shout out to George Niang. He's been giving good minutes.
I also have to admit, George been balling. He's been balling. He's been very productive.
George's? I think it's George's Niang. Right? Or is this let's I don't know. Let me it's not.
Do we pronounce the S? I know it has an S. Do we pronounce the S? I feel like we don't.
We're gonna search up a pronunciation guide.
George Niang.
Zorge Niang. Zorge Niang. Z. Zorge.
Zorge.
Zorge. Zorjnian.
Okay.
And I believe that name is it Nigerian?
Is he Nigerian?
I think his dad is.
Also, I found out that Ty Jerome was black the other day. That kind of blew my mind.
Only reason I thought that would be the case. Ty. Okay, like Ty Jerome.
I was like, this is okay. I found out about his family history. I was like, oh wow. I did
Ty
not know that.
Jerome. It's like, oh wow, how did that happen? It's like, oh, what with the Dante? What not Dante? What's his name out there? Oh, Isaiah Hartenstein. But he was like, hey man, how you got Isaiah spelled like that? like that's Zake. Like,
Yeah, when Isaiah Hartenstein was like, yeah, I'm black. I was like, what?
I'm
And then he
now
like
it makes
started,
sense how his name's spelled.
and I was like, hey, it's like, yeah, my dad is black. I said, oh, okay. I was not aware. Was not aware at all.
Yeah, but I think George Niang is I don't know which part of the motherland that his people are from on his father's side, but I do know that he is half of something. It's something else.
Yeah.
Shout out to George. You know what I mean?
Shout out to George. Shout out to
Zorch.
George and Ty.
Zorch
Niang.
Yeah.
Him and Ty, man. Shout out to them.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Hey man, that's what America does to you. You come out here named Zorch Niang, and they out here just calling you George. Okay, like, or Georges. Like,
yeah, we sorry.
Brutal.
We sorry. We
Brutal.
know. We did not know.
Brutal what we do to names out here, dog. It's brutal.
Don't respect nobody, dog.
Yeah, because it's clearly a name that's meant to be said all in one, like Zorch Niang. It's like
we just like, nah, Georges.
George, you're George now.
They said, we
That's
sorry,
so
bro.
awful. My
We
bad,
sorry.
man. My bad. You know he from Massachusetts? Imagine somebody say that with a Boston accent. I bet he's like, just say George.
Yeah, dead ass.
Like,
We get it.
all right, bro, we don't need to do this. But the Cavs playing really good basketball. Such good basketball. Evan Mobley.
Special.
Leap year, Evan Mobley. Is it a leap year this year? No, I think next year's a leap year. Evan Mobley. Looking special. Jared Allen holding up under them bright lights of LA. Well, not LA, but against the Lakers and against the New York Knicks. Yeah, man. I just don't know who's going to beat this Cavs team.
They look like they play the Bucks again today, but they're playing them at home this time.
I ain't gonna lie, I had to get the league pass again.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're not here, so you actually gotta use the league pass to watch them.
Yeah. Halfway, like a quarter through that New York game, when I was like, nah, they keeping this close. I'm like, all right, man, league pass. I'm in. I'm all in. Like, yeah.
I'm all the way in.
And by the way, out of market on league pass is the best way to do it.
Yep.
Except for
100%.
when they play a team in your town.
Do you get the blackout?
Yeah, or you just go to the game. Like, except for when they play in Cleveland. I can't watch those games. I'm not about to pay Bally Sports for that. That's crazy. That's nuts. Okay. Like,
Hey, FanDuel Sports Network.
what is that? Is that what it's called now?
It's FanDuel Sport. Yeah, FanDuel took it.
Yeah,
FanDuel
they changed it.
Yeah.
Hey man.
Been working better ever since, to be honest.
Yeah, well, they needed a cash infusion and they got it from the sports betting website, which I don't know is great for the long-term integrity of the league, but hey man, like they needed the money, I guess. Because like I just don't understand why the NBA does their TV like they do.
I don't either.
You have NBC and ABC bidding for these contracts, and then you had Turner Sports on it. Why not just like take some Turner Sports money and broadcast more games?
The,
Gotta
the
get-
NBA getting NBC back is going to be bad because it's just not going to work.
And they got fucking Amazon in here too.
Amazon's going to be even worse. Who are they going to get to broadcast for Amazon though? That's the thing.
Oh, the guys from TNT.
No, they said they ain't leaving.
They said they ain't leaving.
They can say a lot of things.
Hey, Cole, I don't think you understand. Them Turner contracts is crazy.
Are they?
Yeah. yeah. Look, all I'm gonna say is Hulk Hogan didn't come to WWE until like 2004 or something like that after WCW went out of business. Like, ain't none of them dudes on them Time Warner contracts like, no, I'm gonna go to WWE and work now. No, they said, fuck that. We come in when this contract is up. Okay, like, bro, they gonna have Chuck out there talking about golf before he come out here talking on NBC Sports.
Man, I just be careful.
Mm-hmm. And nobody wanted to set that standard that Turner Sports has set, where it's like, nah, you really don't got to do that many dates. That's the thing, right? Like, if he signed that contract for NBC, they'll give him a pay raise for sure, but they'll try to make him work more dates. And why would he want to do that?
Chuck
Hey,
is very
even when
vocal.
they got some very interesting quotes out there about Stephen A. Smith's contract.
Yeah.
Like,
He's very vocal about never working for ESPN.
yeah. My man loves Turner so much he be on CNN. Okay, like, he's not going nowhere.
He said they have me on ESPN1, ESPN2, ESPN3, ESPN Deportes. I ain't doing none of that. Oh man, shout out Chuck, man.
Yeah,
Shout
man.
out
Look,
Chuck.
Turner Sports, they get none of them. They might get Ernie, right? But Ernie seemed like he about to hold it down. He old, he retirement age. What, Kenny Smith? You gonna get Kenny Smith?
You might be able to get Shaq.
Yeah, go get Shaq. Would Shaq try to work more dates?
I don't know. Shaq ain't never turned out a bag.
Shaq got guaranteed money to do nothing right now. If he signs a contract for NBC, he will not be able to get that guaranteed money to do.
Oh, I'm not talking about NBC. I'm talking about Amazon.
If he signs a contract with any broadcaster, he's gonna lose. They have non-competes.
Man, I don't know. Jeff Bezos can make it happen. He can make it happen.
He really shouldn't be able to make it happen. We have laws in this country, but like, okay, like,
He can make it happen.
right, we have laws in this country for this reason. But yeah, there's a no compete clause there for they can't just jump over, and they don't want to. Why would they want to?
That's my only
They
argument for
getting-
this.
They getting. It's not like they're deprived of cash right now. Like,
Hey, listen, I never
Shaq
said they
made
were
how much
deprived.
money throughout his career. We didn't even talk about basketball. Okay, like, we didn't even talk
That's my whole argument. Shaq has never turned out a bag in his life, dog. He's never turned out a bag.
But you know what, Shaq wasn't signed into the Celtics to work. Right? Like, Shaq knew what it was over with, right? When it was time to be fun Shaq. That's what Shaq not about to do none of this non-fun Shaq shit. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I completely forgot Shaq played for the Celtics.
Yeah. Play for the
Completely forgot about
Cavs.
that.
Remember that?
Did he play for the? No, I do remember him play for the Cavs. Did he play for the Celtics the year they went to the finals in 2010?
I don't think so. No, I think that Celtics team was a disappointment. I think it was like 2011 or something like that.
I was going to say, was that the year after? It might have been a year after.
He was on the Cavs after they lost to Dwight Howard in the conference championship game.
Because he was on Cavs 2009. When was Shaq on the?
He was like
Celtics?
2011, right? 2011, 2012.
I think it's either 2010 or it was 2010, 2011 season. So 2011 season. Okay, cool. The year after. I was about to say him being on the Celtics when the Celtics lost to the Lakers would have been crazy. That would have been a bigger thing. A way bigger thing.
And like, honestly, we got to stop encouraging these platforms to be spending all this money to get dudes who used to work for other companies. Man, promote some new people. Put Jeff Teague on the podcast. See what happens.
Oh, we can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah, put Jeff Teague, Matt Barnes, and Pat Bev at that table, and then just get a white dude. Hold it down. Like, what's the dude's name from what the Matt dude? What's his guy? What's his name? Matt something. He been on Bleacher Report forever. Or is it Brian
can't-
LaFleur?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Brian Lefkey.
I mean, maybe.
Lefko? Yeah.
Lefko.
Yeah.
Lefko. I know who you're
Yeah.
talking about.
You can have Lefko, hold that table down. Now you got the next generation locked up. And you on Amazon, so you don't even got to worry about the FCC.
Yeah, man, I ain't trying to listen to Pat Bev. I will listen to Jeff and Matt, though.
Look, if Pat Bev got the right point guard, it might work out. Right? To get that ball in and out from Pat. Pat just don't need to be talking about everything. But see, people feel that way about Charles.
Pat not funny like Charles.
Pat not funny to me. No.
I was about to say what you talking about.
I will understand that I don't get the Pat Beverly appeal, but I think he appeals to a different audience.
Yeah, I'm sure he appeals to a different audience. That's not going to be the audience that Amazon is targeting.
Is it?
I don't think so. Especially
I
if
don't
you
think
get Jeff
we're
T.
Amazon's target audience, Cole. I think the target audience for Amazon and the NBA looks a lot like a Drake concert. But okay, like yeah.
Bro, did you hear what Drake said about DeMar DeRozan?
He's such a weird online person, isn't he? Like
it's he got every right to feel away about that dude being on us. Yeah, yes. He legitimately he has a right to feel away. Absolutely.
I mean, everybody has a right to feel how they feel.
No, he legitimately has a legitimate gripe with him, and I completely understand that part of it. Listen, man, DeMar has been to this dude's house. DeMar's been vocal about this, how like Drake was one of his like friends and somebody that supported him when he first got to Toronto, and like he lost his dad and everything, and like he went over Drake's house, all this stuff. Like they legitimately had like a friendship. And then you turn around.
Well, hold on. There's a lot of time between that part of DeMar's life and what happened last summer. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah, if we were like in 13 when all of this went down, and in 2014 DeMar does this, yeah, it's scant. I ain't gonna lie. I'd agree with you. But there has been like a decade of time. Well, when did he get traded from the Raptors? In 19? There's been like 5 years. And who knows what happened? Like, what if Drake did all that shit while he was with the Raptors, and then like he started ghosting DeMar once he got traded to the Spurs? And I'm not saying that anything like that went down. All I'm saying is that 5 years, like shit changes in that amount of time. Like I don't like what you did for somebody 10 years ago. It's not gonna be prevalent when we talk about something like today.
This is my thing about that. If I haven't done anything wrong to you, and by all accounts, Drake hasn't done anything.
We don't know.
We don't know. But if we did, and honestly, I think we do know. Because DeMar was like, no, I mean, Drake's still my man. Like, we still cool. Like, I ain't gonna never have nothing bad to say. He said all of this publicly afterwards, and he had no reason. He has no reason to do that. If that's not
why would he? Like, if he had an issue with Drake that was like, hey man, he really didn't hold up his end of the bargain as a friend. Are you really about to be out there in public letting people know that? Or when you get asked about it, you're gonna be like, no, we still cool. But y'all ain't really cool like that. Like,
no, there's no reason for you to say that because Drake didn't say that.
This is no reason. All I'm saying is that man decided to show up on that video for whatever reasons he had, and
he's from the area. I also understand why he felt like he's from there. So yeah, I get it. But this is my thing.
But if it was just he's from the area, I don't think he's on that music video. Like, I think there is probably more there that we're never going to find out to it. Because, like, also Drake's reaction to this is like...
that was my second point. That was my second point. He has a right to feel away. But what he did in that stadium was corny. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Dog. You can't do that.
It sound like how he be talking about his exes in the music.
Yeah, bro. I was like, no, that's corny for you to do. That's corny for you to do that.
Which again, to me, suggests there's probably more there than what we realize. like
I couldn't believe that he was like doing all of that publicly. And I was like, hey man, feeling away towards him or like not rocking with him no 100% valid. But all that, I climb up there and I take the banner down, like all
Calling
of that.
him a PAN, a pan, like while he's walking off the screen.
After he's so
After
far in
he's
front of
miles
you,
off. Yeah.
like come on,
Yeah,
man.
see, look, I feel like that tells us something that we got to read into, where it's like, hey, man, I get that he felt like he needed to support Kendrick in that moment, right? But support don't have to look like showing up in the music video, though. Like
What?
that is the extra step that would suggest that maybe, and also Cole, let's think about it like this. Hey, he did all that shit for DeMar DeRozan when it was 2013. Everybody he had a beef with this summer, he did some shit for in 2013, but apparently in 2024, something happened in between them 10 years. He has a long track record of stuff like this. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if we could just assume that everything was just cool. Like, literally nobody from his life from that period of time still rocks with him.
Yeah, he got beef with Brian now and everything too.
Yeah. Yeah, like, what, 40 still cool with him?
Yeah, yeah.
40, Boy Wonder. That's it. And that might be a business decision, right? Like, 40 is definitely his homeboy. But, like,
The Brian thing is weird because you got a tattoo of Brian. So that's a little.
why would you? We did not challenge this stuff enough. And, like, I don't want to make this a toxic masculinity thing. Don't get no grown man tattooed on you that is not, like, I would have tattooed my father's face on me. Okay? Like, why
Yeah,
would you?
Faces is too much. Faces.
Why would you get a stranger's face tattooed on you?
I can't say they're strangers necessarily, but
You only know Bron because he's Bron. Like, it's not like y'all were childhood friends and y'all grew up together and y'all came up together. No, you friends because you famous and he famous. That ain't no real friendship. That's just somebody you know because they fucking famous like you famous. Like,
I wouldn't do it.
you know who Bron real friends are? They not other famous people. Like,
I mean, Rich Paul's famous.
because of Bron.
I'm just saying, Rich Paul's famous.
Rich
That's
Paul
his
famous
friend.
because of Bron. Like, everybody who Bron's actually friends with aren't people he met when he was famous, other than if people hoop with them, but they co-workers. What made Drake think that was really his homeboy? Like,
Hey man, I don't know.
Drake got
Bron-
the worst homeboy gauge of all time, by the way.
Brian been dancing to not like us all.
Got the worst homeboy gauge of all time.
He been dancing to that song more than anybody.
Nah, man. Look, I just think there's evidence out there to suggest that Drake probably did something. like,
But unless we know, I
yeah.
understand.
I understand
why
why
you feel
Drake, like, even if something happened, I understand why Drake would feel some type of way about it. Like, I agree with you on that. Like, it's you can feel some type of way about it. Getting on the broadcast.
We do it too much.
I'm gonna climb up there and tear your little jersey down. It's kind of crazy.
I was like, come on, bro. You can't do that. Put it in
I'ma
a
tear it
song.
down.
Put it in a song or something.
Don't
it in a
even
song or
put
something.
that shit in no fucking song. That's what he been doing the last 2 albums. Shit been ass. Okay, like,
I'd have been fine with it.
I don't want to hear you. You know what the lamest part of that beef was that nobody talked about, when Drake split a whole fucking verse getting mad at Ja Morant.
Like somebody even said it. Like DeMar even said like Drake was supporting him after he got traded because he was talking he was open about how he was depressed when he got traded the first time, and like Drake was the one who like supported him and stuff like that. So I'm saying, bro, I understand why he feels the way. Like, damn, bro, this man calling me all kinds of stuff, and you dancing in the video.
No. Like, I can understand why Drake would never be friends again with anybody who was publicly just rocking with that song. Like, I get that. I would not be friends with anybody here. But yeah, man, you can't get on the broadcast.
Yeah, you can't do that. But like, if somebody was dissing you,
and I was out there dancing to it, yeah, dog, this shit's over with. What you mean? Like, I was at your birthday party. What the fuck you mean you dancing to this shit?
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm like, nah, I get it. I would feel away. I would feel away.
Okay, I see your point. I see your point.
I
You
would
just
feel
can't
away
be on
about
the
that
microphone if that's the case, right? Like you just got to be like, "Hey, bro, I just don't need to be on television right now."
And he was there for like the Vince Carter jersey retirement and all of that. And I'm like, bro, you just got to talk about Vince.
Mm-hmm. I'm not really here to talk about the drama.
Or they ask you a question about DeMar, you just be like, you gonna be here? Be like, nah.
Hey, do what you normally do in that situation. Lie. Yeah, man, DeMar's a great player. We'll see if he gets his jersey retired. Just you know, do what most of us do in situations like that. Defer. Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, defer and leave reasonable doubt. But you went out there with pure petty. Like,
Yeah, you also can't say that you not bothered by any of this and then do that.
he's clearly bothered by this.
That's
I don't blame him for being bothered by this. This sucks for Drake, right? Like, this is a lot to hit you, even if he's approaching all of this in good faith, right? Like, if he's approaching all the criticism in like a way to address, this is still a lot. Like,
I'm not faulting him at all for feeling away and like ending. I'm not faulting him at all for any of that stuff. All I'm saying is this: that if you feel away, don't be on here pretending to us like you don't feel away when you clearly do.
Stop. These people who you are friends with from completely different avenues of your life that are not music related, and sometimes even music related. They're not your friends. Like LeBron is not your homeboy. Like, it's just cool to know each other. It's just a convenience thing, right? Like, that's just a celebrity thing. Like, I don't know if it's appropriate to say, but it's like believing the stripper loves you. You know, like
Chat, please clip that. Please clip that. Thank you.
That's what a lot of Drake's like friendship grievances come down to. It's like, oh man, I thought you loved me.
This is extremely ironic considering Drake has a ton of songs about strippers.
Seems like a habit.
Getting hurt. Yeah.
Seems
You know what?
like something he does.
Good point. Good point by you. Now that I think about it, good point. Great point by you.
This keeps happening to him with every kind of relationship he could have.
It's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, man. Like, it seems like an area in which he needs to address.
Good Lord. How did we get here?
Oh God. Good. I hope he never listens to Mr. I hope he never finished Meet the Grams. Like, for his own sake.
That's such a That's such a crazy song.
Fuck a rap battle. Like, it's a lifelong battle with yourself. Oh God. But nonetheless, did we talk about everything we need to talk about? We talked about let's talk about this draft, man. Let's have an honest conversation about this draft.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about this, and I'm gonna start it off. This quarterback class, outside of Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, is god awful. Just god awful.
We just gonna do the work. We gonna do the work man like this. We gonna do the work man. Like this?
I will say this about Curtis Rourke, who I'm a fan of, and I would like the Cleveland Browns to draft in the mid rounds. He got 2 tests. He got 2 opportunities to show everybody what he can do. 2 opportunities
to start playing like
2 opportunities to show everybody what he can do, man. He can win a lot of people over.
But what made you feel this way about the quarterback class? What happened Saturday?
Man, I watched Carson Beck, and I was just like, yeah, man. I wouldn't take you in the first 6 rounds. Wouldn't do it.
Nah, he got 4th round pick written all over him.
I wouldn't do it.
4th round pick?
Do not draft.
I'd
4th round pick, he's worth it.
I'd go lower than that. He has regressed.
Nah.
It's so bad.
He's
like
bad, man.
I've never
Fourth
He's
round
seen
pick.
bad.
Y'all gassing it now.
I'm
Fourth
not
round
really
pick.
I'm not really
We're not gassing it at all. He's
That's
bad.
His processing is
I'm not
terrible.
okay, but even if he's bad, like again, you're drafting a prospect. You still got to consider what he was able to do before and see if you could get him to get back to a point to where you could develop. And that's a fourth round pick. If Spencer Rattler, with all the fucking bad tape that he had in his college career, was what, a fourth round pick or a fifth round pick? Well, Spencer Rattler.
Fifth round.
Yeah, then Carson Beck's a fourth.
I'm cool.
I think Carson Beck's a fourth. I mean, like, you go restart the franchise over no fourth round pick. Like, it really costs you nothing. But yeah, I wouldn't take him. He's not the type of quarterback that I like.
Q, hey man, Q will argue down and be like, "Nah, I wouldn't take him either."
No, we got to get to a point where we being fair though. Like, just because I agree with you, don't mean we just gonna let this shit go crazy. Like,
you agree with me? Who cares?
It does matter, right? Because I'm like, he is 6th round pick. That's a bit much, but he's a 4th round pick. Like,
would be a 4th round pick by me.
It'd be a 4th round pick. He'd be a 4th round pick. Like, if I saw him there in the 4th round, I'd consider it. I don't know if I pull the trigger. It would take a lot not being on the board. I consider
it. Hey man, if you gotta qualify it with, it's gotta be a lot that's not there on the board.
Hey, that shit happens though.
It do happen.
That shit happens all the time.
They do happen.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if options aren't great, that's not a bad pick in the 4th round. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the first round prospects, right? I think right now, Pro Football Focus still got Jalen Milroe out there, like 5th overall prospect. We'll see. I think how he finishes the season will really matter, right? Because nothing's going to kind of make you forget that. What was it? Not the South Carolina game. It was the one he had recently that he almost lost. Was it? It was another ranked team. He lost, I think.
He lost to Tennessee.
The Tennessee game is really bad for him, right? Because at least in the Vanderbilt game, he came back. He threw a couple.
In Tennessee, he looked awful. The Vanderbilt game, he attempted to come back.
And the same thing with the South Carolina game, where like he at least came back from it. The Vanderbilt game, the Tennessee game, he just melted down, complete melted down. So I got to see more from him before I'm like back in the first round with him. But Shedeur, I think it's pretty inarguable he's going to end up being a first round prospect. Cam Ward is an interesting one to me because I do believe Curtis when he says he sees too much Zach Wilson in him.
Yeah, I said it before. Yeah, like I said it before, and people got upset with me. I'm like, just watch the tape for a little bit. Like he thrives out of chaos. That's the main thing as to why he's playing the way he has. And I thought against Duke on Saturday, he looked pretty bad. And Miami fans got mad at me. They were talking cash money shit, saying, "Oh, 400 yards didn't move you." I'm like, he looked like he was in hell against Manny Diaz for half of the game, and then he figured it out. But the thing is, I think if the Browns were to draft Cam Ward, that wouldn't be a great fit because do we really trust him to play in an offense that's required for him to play on time and in structure? Because we all know last quarterback that was in this offense, homeboy couldn't do it. So I'm like, do y'all really want to go down that path again?
That boy catches strays right now.
I'm just saying. He ain't say nothing. Curtis ain't saying nothing wrong.
Hey man,
I agree with Curtis about like the general summation of his play style. What I do think needs to be accounted for is that like he does play like Zach Wilson, but this is a much better version of that than whatever Zach Wilson was at BYU.
He's Zach Wilson, but with more swag to him. That's my accurate.
You think so?
I mean, I guess
Zach Wilson wasn't this good at BYU.
I know he wasn't this good, but just looking back at the tape, I'm like, I think Corey put a tweet out about it. He said that, Cam Ward is probably the same player that he has been for the past 3 years. I'm like, that's a fair argument to have. It's just, I don't see the allure like everyone else does. I'm like, yeah, he's good, but look at his play style and look if he will actually fit on any team that would need him. Because to be fair, if he plays like he does in college and you expect it to translate to the pros, GM is going to get fired in 2 to 3 years. And
Yeah, that's true.
a coach might get fired in a year because he can't rely on him. So it's one of those prospects I'm looking at. Like, he's not a first rounder to me. He's probably second round at best. But if a team drafts him in the first round, it's going to be because they're desperate. So, that's my take on it. I don't think he's like the best I've seen. I'm like, he's all right, but he's not like someone I would take in the first round.
I think that the arm talent is intriguing for him, right? Like, and the question is, does he play like this because he can get away with it? Or is this the only way he can play? Like when he almost throws a cross-body interception to get a 5-yard gain against Duke, that's the shit where I'm like, man, he's like a 5th-year senior. Right, doing that. Like the thing consider, right? He's much better than Zach Wilson was in college. He's much older than Zach Wilson was in college. Zach Wilson came out as a true junior, right?
I think,
or a redshirt sophomore.
I think
One or two.
I think a junior.
He was a young man. Cam Ward grown. like, he's played a lot of football, a lot more football than Zach Wilson did in college. And that's what scares me off of him, right? Because, like, some dudes can play like that and then play in structure because they only play like that because they can. Some dudes, they play like that because they can't play in structure. Which all-star game you think he's going to be at? Because he's got to go to one. He's got to go to one.
Senior Bowl. That's where he should go. Gotta go to Senior Bowl.
I'm wondering because I'm hearing rumblings that like Sanders might be at the NFLPA Bowl, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Like the Deion ain't gonna do the number 2 bowl.
Yeah, he got to do senior if you're gonna do one.
Yeah. I think they should because like the whole thing about them doing the NFLPA Bowl is that with the East-West Shrine game is they can have more control over that process. And I'm like, that's the exact same shit that would scare people off of Shador.
Yeah, let Shador go to the senior. Let Shador go to the Senior Bowl. Let him
I
go.
think he can stand on his own merits, but like the thing with Cam Ward, I wonder about that. Then you got guys who I think second round prospects as of now, right? Where I'm like, if it's like pick 45, might consider doing it, right? Because I don't believe like if you think somebody should be drafted in the top 5 in the second round, you might as well just draft them in the first round.
Yeah, you might as well get the 5th-year option,
right?
Get a 5th-year option.
Well, like pick 45 though, that's fair enough. like all right, fuck it. Like, yeah.
Who you got in that range?
Milroe is comfortably in that range. I think he won't fall back out that range because he's just too athletically talented to fall out that range for me. Like that's the floor for Milroe. I think Warwick's working his way back in there. I think he's more of an early 3rd than a mid-2nd. But if he plays well versus Ohio State and he plays well against his bowl games and he finishes the season out strong, I think he can move into a second round selection and you could justify it. Like ultimately, if I'd be excited to take him in the 3rd round, you got to consider it in the second round for a quarterback, right? Just the thing is, you draft him in the second round, you got to start him at some point, right? 3rd round, no guarantee to start. Who else is in there? I guess you could say Cade Klubnik could be in there, but I don't know if I'm there yet with him, right? I haven't seen him enough.
I wouldn't take him in the second round.
I think. Let's see who else. Let me look at the quarterback list of who's going to be eligible because there might be a name I'm forgetting here. But who do you have in that range?
Second round, the only one I really got is Milroe, to be honest with you, and that's purely he's a crazy athlete, and it's also going to be a project. But I can see a team. I can see a team talking themselves into that. Like we can fix him. We can get the most out of him. Blase, blase, blase.
I would argue the second round is probably the best place to get him because then you don't have to start him right away.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You can't start him right away. It's not going to work
because he needs mechanical refinement. Carson Beck has fallen out of that. We talked about that. Nussmeier? Anybody there for Nussmeier?
No. Stay in school. We need to be.
Go back to school. Go back to school.
Dylan Gabriel.
Might,
No.
probably lower than that.
No.
Now, this is one I think is interesting. Look, you don't have to endorse it. I don't know if I would go here. I do see somebody talking themselves into Drew Allure in the second round.
The Pride of Medina needs to stay in school for another year.
I think he's going back to school too.
Pride of
think
Medina
so?
needs to stay. Yes.
I think he's
that
going
would
back
be
to
a good
school.
move for him. But if he did decide to go out, I mean, he's 6'5", he big, he could throw that ball far.
Yeah, but he needs to go back to school.
Pride of Medina needs to stay for a year. You gotta stay for a year.
Yeah, he
Miller
might need to
Moss?
transfer. He might need to transfer too, to be completely honest.
Miller Moss?
Miller Moss.
No.
He got 4th, 5th round written all over.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd Cody Kessler go? 3rd round? That was pretty high for Cody Kessler. at the
4th.
time, right?
4th.
Cody Kessler. Trust me. Jackson Dart.
Mid rounds.
I gotta watch more Jackson Dart. Have you watched a ton of Jackson Dart?
I haven't.
I haven't watched a ton. I know he had a great game. I know he had a great game this past week, but I still haven't watched a ton. So I'm going to say mid rounds on him.
The last Jackson Dart game I watched was against Kentucky, so that's my only game so far.
This gonna be a weird one, but Jackson Dart got the name of a dude you don't want to draft, but you do want to sign in like 5 years to be a backup. Cause he'll go on like a hot run.
Yeah.
Cade Klubnik.
I kind of like Cade.
Like, hey, where would you take
kinda
him?
like-
Third round?
If he there in the 4th, you know what I'm saying? If he there in the 4th, I consider it.
Yeah, former 4-star, right? Former 5-star, I think. Yeah, I wouldn't be furious at it. Hey, is Riley Leonard still gonna get drafted? Like he went for somebody who people were talking about maybe out of Duke last year, being able to be a prospect. What happened to Riley Leonard?
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything, but I think the last time I heard about him was Colin Cowherd making a dumb comparison, saying he was closer to he was like a Josh Allen type point. I'm like, all right, no.
All right, man. Come on, man. We can't compare somebody who's 23 to Josh Allen.
Yeah, like that was his comparison. Like I don't know why he said that.
If you're Josh Allen and you're 21, that's good. If you're Josh Allen and you're 24, that's not good. like that. Then we did the same shit with Joe Milton last year. We're like, hey, the age part of this matters because that is years you've had to develop and not be like that, and you're still like that.
Anybody we missed?
Kyle McCord.
No.
Priority, not even priority. UDFA.
Hey, you joke. He came into the season, according to NFL Draft Buzz, ranked ahead of Curtis Work, 19. Curtis Work is 20th on this list.
Look, they need to update that.
And right behind Curtis Work, DJ Ukulele.
Future Bloodline member.
Bloodline. The
Future
bloodline.
Bloodline member.
Hey, man. He going to take over for Jordan Teamu?
Might have to.
Someone in the comments mentioned Quinn Ewers.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about him. 3rd round.
Do not draft.
I wouldn't put do not draft. He could be a backup.
I'm just saying for me personally.
He played like Case Keenum. Except for Case Keenum was much more exciting in college. Like, I'm not even joking about that. Like, go look at Case Keenum's college numbers.
He was cooking.
He was crazy.
He
Was
was-
Southern Miss or Houston? Yeah. Case Keenum was cooking in college. Yeah, but he played like Case Keenum though in the pros as a college kid. That's what concerns me. Like Case Keenum played like that because he couldn't do what he did in college in the pros. Why the fuck are you playing like Case Keenum in college? Like that's the thing that concerns me.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on
Like,
that.
what's that going to look like in the NFL? What can't you do in the league? What you about to say, Curtis?
There's another one that I think people were talking about before the season, but the hype has died down. Jalen Daniels from Kansas. Because I remember people talking about him last year. And
Oh,
Kansas
yeah, the
is-
athlete.
Yeah, and Kansas is not good this year, and I haven't heard much from it about Jalen Daniels. So, no, I'm good on him.
Dude, JT Daniels is still playing college football.
Yep, playing for Rice. He's playing for Rice.
Damn, he about to be in that East West Shrine Bowl. Like,
Oh man.
I think this is a good year to get a quarterback in the later rounds, to be honest with you. Like,
Hey, Curtis Rourke. Third, fourth
Curtis
round.
Rourke.
I'm with it.
hey,
I'm with it.
I wonder, like, is a team going to convince themselves Quinn Ewers over Curtis Work? Because if you're willing to take Quinn Ewers in the first round, there's no reason you shouldn't be willing to take Curtis Work. Like, because really, I think I'm going to put this here. I don't give a fuck what they were ranked and what Quinn Ewers' high school ranking was. Curtis Work is a much better prospect than Quinn Ewers. Like,
I don't
full
disagree
stop.
with you. I don't disagree with you at all.
So why is it crazy, like, when people consider Curtis Work being like first, second round, but like when we talk about Quinn Ewers being there, it's like we just so used to it because so many people have done it.
No. I don't know how you could watch Texas and want to draft Quinn Ewers in the first round. I don't know how you could watch them and be like, yeah, that's a first round quarterback.
Yeah, it used to be like we get excited about game managers in college now, and it's like we used to be able to identify that one pretty well, right? Like AJ McCarron was not getting overdrafted when he was at Alabama. And he was one of the better ones that they had. Like,
I just be saying, I be like seeing people. The Browns need to take Quinn Ewers. Like, no, they don't.
If this were 2014 and Quinn Ewers was playing at Alabama, we would all see what this is. Like, it's just now that archetype hasn't existed since what? Who's the last one? McCorkle Jones?
Yeah.
And people drafted that motherfucker in the first round. Like,
how did that go?
Like, Curtis, for real, when did we stop forgetting about this archetype in college football and like just start buying into it? Because it was like one day it was like, okay, nobody's drafting Jay Coker, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Mac Jones in the first round. Did the pandemic break our brains? Because like,
just silently nod. It's just like,
did the pandemic break our brains? Like, when did we stop? When did we stop noticing? Like, oh yeah, this dude's a game manager at the college level. Like, if Case Keenum came out 2 years ago, somebody would have drafted that motherfucker in the first round.
Man, what even got Curtis ranked out here? Let me see, man.
That's the thing I find crazy is like, how are we looking at Quinn Ewers and being like, yeah, man, top 5 pick? Like Bo Nix went in the top 15. Bo Nix.
Hey,
Listen to this. Brains get broken.
NFL draft buzz. Curtis Rourke.
Oh yeah, he's 20th. That's the list I just looked at. I'm not even about to check out no. I'm not even about to check out no damn Walter football. Absolutely not clicking on that website.
So they got Shador number 1, of course. Oh, is that Walter Football? Is that who this is?
Walter
No. Walter Football is a different website.
Oh, okay.
It's just universally awful.
Okay. Yeah, but they got Shador number 1, Cam Ward number 2, Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck 3 and 4, Jalen Milroe 5, Garrett Nussmeier number 6. People love him.
I think he's a former 5-star.
People love Nussmeier.
They were hyping that man up against Texas A&M. I'm like, man, you ain't impressing me so far.
Man, they got Curtis Rourke as a 6th round pick.
I'm telling you, that shit ain't holding.
It can't.
All right, you want to have fun? Let's look at the highest graded on Pro Football Focus quarterbacks in the nation.
Oh, this
now, do we want to just leave out G5 schools? Do we just want Power 5?
Might as well include them all.
Include them all.
All right, we'll do 2 lists. Number 1, Jackson Dart with a 92.3 grade.
Okay.
Cam Ward, number 2 with a 91.6. Curtis Rourke, number 3 in the country, 91.2. Okay. Shador Sanders, 91.1. Ben Woolridge, College. University of Louisiana Lafayette, number 5, 90.5. Brandon Lewis, 89 at number 6. Hank Batchenmeyer, Wake Forest. Tyler Shaw, Louisville. Haynes King. We didn't talk about him. What y'all feel about Haynes King?
The only Haynes King game I saw was a Florida State game, and that was it.
I've seen Haynes King a couple times. I'm going to see him this weekend too because I'm going to Georgia Tech to see that Miami game. But I mean, he got a good arm. Decent athlete. He's not bad. Taylor Green, Arkansas. Dylan Gabriel, number 10. Where Will Howard at? Will Howard is 24th. Hey, you know who's 20th though, Cole?
Who?
Kyle McCord.
Damn.
Kyle McCord, 20th. Hey,
Damn.
Curtis, how you feel about that?
That's too high. That is too high. That's being generous to Honda McCord.
No, you want to hear something crazier? I searched this before, so I already knew the answer to this. Kyle McCord is the highest graded deep ball thrower in the country right now.
That can't be possible. That
That
can't
is
be
absolutely
That's a lie.
deep ball, deep 20+ yard passing. Here are the numbers. He has a 37% big time throw percentage with 20 big time throws, only 4 turnover worthy plays, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 23 to 47, highest graded. 12.3 of his attempts this year, a percent of his attempts, deep balls. Did Ohio State miss out?
No.
No.
Would he be loading up Jeremiah Smith right now?
No.
Hey man, y'all not that far behind. Will Howard 6. Shador's 5th. Curtis Work 3rd. Hey man, look, every time I sort these stats, Worky be up there, man. Like,
Listen, this is all I'm saying. If the Browns take a quarterback later, I know who it's gonna be.
the biggest thing, which quarterback allows the least pressure? You want to know who the most is? Shador Sanders.
Shador Sanders. Yeah,
Yeah,
Shador
number
Sanders.
2. Responsible for 28.3% of his pressures, which I don't think is an adequately talked about enough point to why you would be scared off of taking him in the first round. I'm like, that is a shocking number. Dog, Cam Ward exists. Like,
Who's number 1?
Donovan Smith out of Houston.
No.
And then a bunch of G5 guys. Let me get rid of the G5.
I'm about to say, put it Power 5.
Okay. Nope, G5 still in there. Let me get that out of there. Here we go. Yeah, Shador's number 2. Jalen Dangles is up there. Where is no homie from? I guess he don't got a terrible. Hold on. Curtis Ward, only 11%.
Tell you, man.
Might be the
Telling
guy.
you.
Might be the guy. Just put up 47 on Michigan State. Might be the guy. Hey, man, that Shador number is alarming. Like, holy shit. 30? Like,
Yeah, that's yeah.
whew. Where is Will Howard at? Wait, let me find out Will Howard. Will Howard, 13.9. That's not bad. That's not bad there. And then Kyle McCord, 16.5. Okay. So he's a grade there. He doesn't get sacked as much as Kyle McCord. Or at least he's not as responsible there. So there you have any other splits we want to look at from these quarterbacks that'll be interesting.
Nah, man. I know who I'm trying to get if I'm the Browns.
Versus pressure. Who's the best versus pressure? That's something to look for, right?
Hey,
And
if Curtis at the top of this one too,
I think
Curtis
he is.
What?
I'm telling you, like, I'm gonna talk myself into Curtis, man.
I've already talked myself in. I've been talking about Curtis for weeks.
It's gonna be all fun and games until I like Curtis over Shador.
Yeah, that's where you're gonna lose me. That's where you're gonna lose me.
We're gonna be having fun on the Curtis trade to see, like, wait a minute, this is a threat.
I need Curtis to stay in the mid round.
Curtis Ward, number one.
Is he for real?
Yeah, number one under pressure.
See, I'm telling you, man.
78.6 grade. It doesn't speak well for the draft class. But yeah. Kyle McCord, number 3 in this draft class. Now, where is Shador?
The Kyle McCord propaganda has to stop.
Shador Sanders, 16th under pressure. I don't know, man. I might be work peeled. Cam Ward, number 10.
Listen, bro. That's what I'm telling you.
Will Howard. Guess where Will Howard is on this list under pressure?
You said Shador was 16?
Shador 16th. Carson Beck is 37th.
Yeah, I can see that.
39 people on this list. And who else is there? Who else is notable that's here? Garrett Nussmeier is 24th.
So Will Howard, I'm gonna say he's what 13th?
He's 38th.
Oh my God, Will?
He's 38. He has no big time throws under pressure, 3 turnover worthy plays. Hey, you sure y'all upgraded at quarterback?
Yes, I'm positive he's better than Kyle.
Are y'all just happy it's not him anymore, like Kyle McCord anymore? Like, I don't know. It feels like a lateral move the more I look at it. I gotta watch Will Howard more because I'm like, this shit does not look better. Because he's doing these grades at Ohio State.
Yeah, that's alarming. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's
Kyle McCord, yeah, he put up these numbers against ACC teams, but he's also playing at Syracuse. Are we sure that this was not a lateral move at the very worst? Or is it Ryan Day just making these dudes worse?
I don't know, man. We just got to see how the rest of the season goes. We just got to see.
This is alarming.
Hey, man. Indiana versus Ohio State. It's going to be something.
Yeah, I need to watch that one. I'm going to be front and center. If he lights up Ohio State, I might be like, fuck it, take him in the first round. What are we waiting on? Why? Because nobody else is saying it. I'll be the outlier. I'll be the dude who drafted Daniel Jones. Fuck it.
Nah, he's 24, man. I'm not taking him in the first
24?
round.
Man, Bo Nix went in the first round. Anything is fucking possible. Okay.
That's true. That's actually very true.
I would take him over Bo Nix. Like we didn't take Michael Penix and Bo Nix in the first round last year.
That's fair.
And this is the franchise that took a 30-year-old in the first round.
Was he really 30?
He was 27. He was 30 by the time he got cut.
Oh, good old
AB ain't never going to do it because there's no way AB's going to look at somebody who's 22 years older. How old is Curtis Ward?
24.
Damn, is he really 24? He's 6'5", though, but he's really 24.
24, 6'5".
Yeah, he has a brother. He's better than his brother for sure.
Yeah.
24.
His older brother plays in the CFL.
He was in the NFL at one point, but bounced
as a
around.
backup.
Yeah, bounced around, didn't work out. Then he went to the CFL, and things have not went well. They lost on Saturday, so he didn't play though.
He should have left OU at 22 and went pro because I feel like he could have got talked into. If Kenny Pickett went in the first round in 22, right? Was that the Kenny Pickett draft 22?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and then look at the quarterback. Desmond Ritter went in the first round or went in the third round that year. Like Curtis could have went easily third round that year.
Hey, man. Might be third round this year. I need him to stay in that fourth round range. But if he
Hey
light
man,
up
his
Ohio
age
State,
might
that's
not
not
give
gonna
him a choice. 24 is kind unless he go on a run. If he go on a run though in the playoffs, yeah, that age ain't gonna matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say he light up Ohio
If he
State.
do this shit versus like an SEC team, yeah.
Yeah, they gonna have to take him high if you do that.
Bo Nix couldn't even do that versus an SEC team. Like Michael Penix didn't even do that against an SEC
I'm
team.
telling you, bro. I'm telling you, if he light up Ohio State and they go on a run, the Browns gonna have to take him high, and I'm not gonna like that.
Yeah, I got my eyes set on after the first round. I think that's where I got my eyes set on for quarterback. I like the options back there. Much
Curtis
better.
got to stay in that fourth round range.
Curtis Klubnik, like, you know, Milrow with the second. I don't mind that one. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I find less objectable choices in the second round than I do in the first. Like,
yeah, I agree
in the
with you.
third.
I
So
agree with you.
we'll see what happens. We'll see. Or they might just wheel out Deshaun there and just be like, hey man, we're gonna try this again. Make the backup quarterback worse so we can't root for him.
Try to get Arch Manning.
Mhm. Oh God, Arch Manning ain't coming. Like, you would have to cut the shot immediately. Like, you need at least 1 year of separation from that before you could just try to convince the Manning family, be like, yeah, come to the Browns.
Yeah, man. It's all bad.
Yeah, it is. And like, I don't even know if Arch like that for real. Like, we really don't know if Arch like that for real. We just know his last name is Manning. That's all we know about Arch. Like, I saw people in here, we talk about Arch more than we talk about Dylan Raiola. He's actually fucking playing right now. Like, Arch don't even play. We like, yeah, first round pick. Like,
Hey, Arch got wheels though. Arch got wheels.
We be like, Arch about to be a first pick in the draft. He has not played a season of football yet. And we're like, yeah, he's going to play that season and then he's going to be the first pick in the draft. Like, we have already anointed him Andrew Luck status. And that's kind of crazy because we don't even know if he's fucking good. Like,
Yeah, we need Quinn to get up out the way so we can figure it out.
people like, yeah, but he can run. Okay. Jalen Milrow can run faster. Like, y'all ain't making him the number 1 overall pick. Like, but if his name was Jalen Manning, I guess we all for it. Like, that's kind of crazy.
It's a little crazy.
Like, hey man, like we gonna make sure this dude's good before we just like go crazy on this. Hey, he's a 5-star, Quincy. So was Quinn Ewers. like,
people want to draft Quinn Ewers in the first round
because he was a 5-star.
Yeah. Not because
Only,
of what he did.
only because of that.
Can't be because of what he's done at Texas.
He's a he's a 5-star like Tate Martell was a fucking 5-star. Like, it does not matter how many stars he had. He's not good. But y'all have a great day, man. Have an even better night. Appreciate y'all for joining us. I know the show came on a awkward day. We had to switch things up due to this week. You know, we didn't want to interfere with the college football playoff selection show. So, do we got super chats? Curtis, were you able to get through these super chats?
We got a couple we can go through. We got one from Ray Rat. We got one from, I'm not going to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But he says, I finally get to catch one of these live. Usually you schedule these while I'm doing something. So
appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate that. Got to make sure we do it on a day where we don't have the college football playoff selection show.
Yeah, you know.
We got one from Ray Rags. It's about the Ohio State game. I wasn't scared one bit that Penn State will win that game. The last time they beat Ohio State, took them blocking a field goal and returning it for a TD. Yeah, that was back in 2016.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, the reason I think Curtis was like, yeah, it was belt to ass is just because it's Penn State.
I wouldn't say that. Wouldn't like saying like it was like an utter domination. It's just I felt Ohio State's O-line controlled them a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting to it. I don't know. Maybe not. But
No, I think it's Penn State, and they never made you worried that they were going to do something they've never done.
Yeah. Like I said,
And wasn't it
have been
Bill
close.
O'Brien that won the last time the Penn State beat Ohio State?
no, I think it was James Franklin. I'm not sure because
James
Bill
Franklin
O'Brien.
been there since 2016.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's actually his one win that he had over a top 10 opponent. Oh man,
Crazy thing.
Curtis, you good? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi effing up in my house, but and we got one more from Ray Rags. James Franklin's play calling against Ohio State is insane. How the hell do you run the same play 2 times in a row? It would not work. Then you flip the formation and still run the same motion.
Oh, you talking about the goal line? Man, I couldn't believe it. Got all the way down there. Didn't give Tyler Warren one chance to get in the end zone on the goal line. Didn't give him one chance. Unserious coach, man. Kevin Stefanski won't have that problem though.
If he's still the coach.
he won't have that problem. Not that problem at all.
You got another one?
Nope, that's about it. All the super chats are done.
Cool.
All right. Appreciate that. Appreciate all of y'all. We don't have to reevaluate this Will Howard conversation, man, because I'm like, I don't know if he's actually better. Like, are y'all in any different of a place than y'all were with Kyle McCord last year?
Save it for after the Indiana game. We'll reconvene and address
we'll
that.
table this till next week. We'll table this to next week, man.
No, not next week because they play Purdue and they gonna mop up. They gonna mop up Purdue. I ain't even worried about that.
Hey, was it Dwayne Haskins that lost to Purdue?
Yeah,
Maybe?
It was. That was there. Yeah, it was. That was Dwayne.
Yeah, it was Haskins that lost to Purdue.
Yeah, they ain't gonna lose to Purdue. But that Indiana game, assuming that Indiana's still top 10, that's gonna be one.
That was a fun time because I remember being like to Ohio State fans during that time. After Joe Burrow won that national champ, I'm like, hey, bro, do you feel like y'all fumbled that a little bit? They're like, no, we got 2 years of Justin Fields. So I'm like, okay. And in them 2 years happy, I wish it. I'm like, do y'all still not consider that a fumble? Like, y'all did everything right? Okay,
Listen,
yeah, it's cool.
That was clearly a fumble. That was clearly a fumble.
Like,
Clearly a fumble.
top 5 quarterback in the NFL, just like, plays. You got to think about Ohio State that had 2 top 5 quarterbacks come through their program.
Didn't win nothing.
And they beat Michigan the same amount of times like the last 10 years. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. But y'all have a great day, man. Have an even better night. Peace.